3 years after the pandemic, fiscal policy has moved a long way towards normalization. Already in 2021 and 2022, debt and deficits fell rapidly from record levels. To allow for extraordinary support in the early stages of COVID-19, many countries suspended fiscal rules. Now, most of these countries plan to go back to rules, often after some rethinking. However, despite having come halfway down from unprecedented levels reached in 2020, global public debt is more elevated and projected to grow faster than foreseen before the pandemic. It is anticipated to start going up again by about 1.25 percentage point per year and into the medium term. By the end of our projection horizon, 2028, public debt in the world is expected to reach almost 100% of GDP, back to the record levels set in the year of the pandemic. It is worth pointing out that primary deficits are also predicted to stop declining and to stay above pre-pandemic levels over the medium term. These global trends are shaped by some large, advanced, and emerging market economies. Brazil, China, Japan, South Africa, Turkey, the UK, and the US are all projected to see increases in public debt ratios in excess of 5 percentage points of GDP over 2023 to 2028, with the two largest economies contributing most to the increase. In the United States, public debt to GDP is projected to increase by 3 percentage points of GDP per year from 2023, about twice the pace projected pre-pandemic. By 2028, the US public debt to GDP ratio is expected to exceed 135% of GDP, well above the pandemic peak. China debt to GDP ratio has increased continuously after the jump up in 2020. There was no decline in China in 2021 or 2022. In 2028, it will have almost doubled pre-pandemic levels and surpassed 100% of GDP. Excluding China and the US, world public debt ratios would be slowly declining over the medium term. Rising real interest rates increase borrowing costs for countries, making fiscal management more challenging. For countries dependent on foreign currency borrowing, tighter global financing conditions are also a source of pressure, as exchange rate depreciation can lead to significant surges in debt. Additionally, rapidly increasing interest rates may create complications for financial stability, as seen in recent financial turbulence in the US and Europe. The Fiscal Monitor makes a strong case for fiscal tightening in many countries based on 4 arguments. First, fiscal policy can and should support monetary policy in bringing inflation back to target. Stronger fiscal balances contribute to slow down aggregate demand and hence moderate required increase in monetary policy rates. Second, a more balanced policy mix, again, by moderating sharp increases in policy rates, contributes to financial stability. Third, a sound overall balance helps limit public finance risks and builds fiscal space to respond to adverse macroeconomic or financial development. Empirical evidence indicates that countries with insufficient buffers that enter a financial crisis suffer deeper and longer recessions. This is particularly the case for emerging markets. Fourth, stronger balances also contribute to long-term debt sustainability in a demanding context that includes demographic trends, digitalization, and the green transformation. The fiscal monitor explores how fiscal policy can help disinflation and protect vulnerable groups at the same time. The results of our analytical chapter show that when monetary policy acts alone, low-income households bear the brunt costs of disinflation. However, fiscal tightening accompanied by target transfers moderates interest rate increases required to achieve inflation targets and limits the decline in consumption for most households, including, by construction, no fall at all in the consumption levels for the poorest households. Looking further ahead, sound fiscal policies today and over the medium term enable governments to contribute to sustainable and inclusive development and to a resilient society. Low-income countries have insufficient fiscal space with tax-to-GDP ratios too low to support the state's economic policy role. Improving tax capacity is crucial for public credit, financial development, and safe integration in world capital markets. It also helps to create room to respond to shocks like the food price surge or extreme weather events, and is necessary for the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Sound public finances are crucial for green investments and tackling climate change. Business as usual will deliver in greenhouse gas emissions this decade. Urgent country, individual, and global collective actions are required to limit temperature increases to tolerable levels and thereby avoid catastrophic climate change. Climate change is the topic of the forthcoming fiscal monitor in the fall.